So yeah, let's move on to the Xeno-Series tier list. What we're all really here for.
Ah!
I don't have a plan for this necessarily. It's just going to be me yapping for pretty much all of it. Um, I forget why I've opened two different Xenogears ones, but anyway, the idea of what I'm gonna do here, I don't know what the fuck all of this stuff is. Like from this point onward, I don't know what the fuck all of this is. So we're gonna ignore everything beyond Xenosaga 3 here. So essentially, we're just doing like the main games and then the DLCs for the Xenoblade series. How low are we putting two? Just you wait, we'll get there. What I'm planning to do, yeah, this is gonna be like Yap Central. Um, the whole segment's just gonna be like huge yapping time. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna go in release order. So we're gonna start at Xenogears and then end at Xenoblade 3 Future Redeemed. I'm going to rank the game, and then yap about my ranking and like what my thoughts are on the game, and then just keep doing that. And to accompany us the whole time, I've arranged an assortment of songs up here on the YouTube tab. At least one from each game. Uh, if not my favorite song in the game, then like usually the most memorable song or just a really good song from the game is what I have sitting here. So it's fucking time to yap, baby. Starting with Xenogears. So Xenogears was not my entry into the series. Xenoblade 1, in fact, was. But Xenogears was the second one I played. I played it back in high school. It's been over 11 years now, I think, or maybe just about 10 years or so since I played Xenogears. Xenogears, for me, honestly, gets a very solid A tier. Xenogears is a 1998 JRPG. I could also get them off the shelf, I'm realizing. That might be kind of cool, too. Just to, like, let me do that, actually. I had the idea, and then I forgot about the idea, and then I re-remembered the idea. So that's really cool of me. Give me 1 sec. Because I think that'll help the aesthetic and help make my claims more credible. As credible as they are ever going to be, I guess. We got Xenogears on the PS1. There we go. There's even still a little bit of like gunk from the price tag that was on it 10 years ago. Bring over a kitchen chair for Pichu. That's such a good idea. Oh my god. We're gonna have Basil co-host first until he gets bored. As soon as he leaves, we'll put Pichu there. That might be very soon, though. Basil is gonna co-host until further notice, and then we'll bring Pichu in. Same difference. But yeah, Xenogears. In all honesty, Xenogears is like it's definitely deserving of a replay from me. I do not remember a whole lot about Xenogears in general, but it's still like it gets a really high amount. I guess it's like middle of the road in terms of how I have this laid out, but A tier is obviously very good still. The story of Xenogears is one that is simultaneously very good and very much like what the fuck is even happening. It's like very infamously just kind of rushes at the end. It's a 2-disc game. So you got disc 1 and the receipt apparently from when I bought it. I forgot that's in there. What's the date on here? December of 2014 is when I bought this. So yeah, I guess it's been almost 10 years since I played it. So you got disc 1, and then you also have disc 2 on the other side. But disc 2 is only like 3 hours of gameplay, whereas disc 1 was like 40. So it's like disc 2 this game is very like infamously rushed at the end. The story is good but not very well told, I would say. And the combat, it's just a very bad loop. I'm like, I definitely put on an hour-long version of this. The loop just kind of sucks. But anyway. The combat is actually insanely good. Like the combat in Xenogears is like almost my favorite of the series, even, which is kind of insane considering it's like the first like take that they had for combat in the series. Where it kind of like lacks is in the gear combat. So the gears are these like, you can't really see them on here. You can see it on the back better. It's these giant fucking like mechs or whatever. The gears have different combat than like being on foot. And the gear combat kind of fucking sucks. And the problem with it is just that you're forced to do it. There's multiple fights during the game where like you are forced into the gear and you cannot not be in the gear. And like fighting with the gear just kind of sucks most of the time, because it's like it took the main battle system. It's kind of like Xenosaga. Yeah, it took like the main battle system, dumbed it down, and then added fuel to it that can like run out. So it's like, it's just not great. But the foot combat, like the hand-to-hand combat, is insanely fun. It's like a better version of Xenosaga Episode 1's combat, which I also really liked. So Xenogears is a very solid game. I do want to replay it, and I'm definitely, when I do replay it, it's going to be on stream. In terms of like the Xeno-Series, this is going to be my next stream of it. Probably not till sometime next year, in all honesty, because like I know me. And this is going to be a long series of streams. This game is like 50 hours or so. 20 minutes of which is stunning anime cutscenes. So, you know, this is going to be a fun stream when we eventually do it. I'm very excited to do that. It's just going to take a while. So, yeah, solid A-tier video game. I imagine once I replay it, it'll probably move up. It'll be Xenogears. Xenogears this time. It'll probably move up a tier when I replay it because I'm like, again, 10 years older. I'm less of a dumbass. My media literacy has fucking skyrocketed since being a 17-year-old. So I'll probably enjoy it a lot more, hopefully. But the game is very, very good. And honestly, I would highly recommend Xenogears if you have a chance to play it. Even if you're not really like a JRPG fan, I feel like it's still just very, very good to play in general. So that is my take on Xenogears. Solid A-tier video game. And now next is going to be Xenosaga Episode 1. We're gonna grab the box for every single one of these as we go. That's going to be the bit, along with the music. I'll grab all the Xenosagas at once just so it's easier, because we're going to talk about all of them in a row. I also forgot to mention, this song is called Shivat, The Wind Calls. Shivat is a city that you go to in the game that is floating in the sky and is the coolest fucking part of the game, for sure. It follows the worst dungeon ever created, but it's so worth it when you get there. And then I've had this song play before too. One Who Bears Fangs at God, the literal coolest name for a title ever. And this title will never be beaten. This is the coolest fucking phrase anyone on Earth has ever come up with, and you'll never get anything better than that. This is this is peak, honestly. This alone, honestly, probably I should move the game up into S tier, but it's so fucking good. And this song actually, little fun derailing fun fact for you. This song is the reason I even got into Xenogears in the first place. Because I played Xenoblade, and then fucking Smooth McGroove, for anyone who remembers that name on YouTube, he did an acapella cover of this song, and like had gameplay of Xenogears in the background. Super heavy spoiler gameplay, by the way. It's like the final boss, like the pre-final boss, like cutscene and everything. And I watched that shit so many times as a 16-year-old, because it was just so fucking cool, and like this song is so fucking good. That video alone made me go out and find and buy Xenogears and play it. And I'm very happy it did, because this is a very fucking good game. So, huge shout out to that. I'm gonna have to loop this one, because I might yap for more than 5 minutes, I don't know. But now we're on to Xenosaga Episode 1. It may come as a shock to you, But Xenosaga 1 is also an A tier. I put it a little bit below Xenogears, because I do genuinely think it's a little bit below Xenogears in general. Xenosaga 1, very solid video game, especially for it having to launch the insane story that is Xenosaga. It does a very good job of it. It does a very good job of introducing all of the characters and making you, like, give a shit about them. We will absolutely be playing... I already have God Civ tiered up, brother. I am way ahead of you, man. I had this shit all teed up. I did pre-pro for once for this stream. I care about this shit, man. God Civ is definitely what we're playing for, I just spoiled what we're playing for 2, but who cares? Yeah, Xenosaga 1... very solid start to the whole thing. Oh no, you're all good, man. You're all good. I appreciate you caring enough to call out God Civ, honestly. I wasn't familiar. But yeah, it does a really good job of introducing all of the characters and just introducing the story in general. It also has my favorite art style of the trilogy. It's like the weird, like 3D moe art. I was kind of sad that they moved away from this for the other two. Especially for Shion's design. Shion, like, her best design was definitely in episode 1, for sure. But, just, like, the whole bit, like, the way they introduced, especially, like, Junior and Ziggy, like, the way that they were introduced. Cosmos just being a fucking badass the whole time. Shion just being a really good protagonist right from the jump, in all honesty. Calling out Alan's bullshit on being racist, but then not calling out the other guy's racism, which I will never get over. Issues with the game, of course. It being the first one, shit kind of just happens. It's not a very structured story, I wouldn't say. There's only one battle theme in the whole fucking game besides this one that's playing. So you get the same boss fight, no matter how, like, high the stakes are. You get the same music. Regular enemy or high-stakes boss fight, you have the same fucking song playing, and then this starts playing at the final boss. I remember I was streaming when we got to the final boss, and I heard this song start playing, and I'm like, oh, this is the fucking end of the game. Because they can only afford one other battle theme, and it was this one. And Yasunori Mitsuda fucking popped off with it. That's for fucking sure. So, like, Xenosaga 1 for me, like, it gets an A tier purely because of the vibes, honestly. Like, the story, again, it starts the whole thing, so you can't expect, like, too much from it. But it's also, like, kind of whatever in terms of the story. But a very enjoyable game, for sure. The tech system was kind of just, like, a downgrade from... The battle system, I should say, was kind of just a downgrade from how Xenogears was. Even though it's, like... roughly the same battle system. And just, like, again, a lot of, like, the individual story beats weren't super memorable, I don't think. In my memory of the game, and I only played this, like, a year and a half ago at this point, and, like, in my memory of the game, it's like you get all the character introductions, you get a couple of extra scenes in there, and then you're just suddenly, like, at the end of the game, and I don't even remember, like, how that happens. Which is not the game's fault, I don't think, but I do just think that it's like... It's choppy, is what I'll say. But still a very good time. I would definitely find myself replaying this at some point, for sure. Now, the second game in the trilogy... Now, Xenosaga Episode 2... Ziggy does choke kill people. That is a thing that he can do. And you can do it on a child as well, I'm pretty sure. I hate to cut this one short because it's such a good song. But alas, we are going to do that. God, it was weird cutting that short like that. But Xenosaga Episode 2. There's a reason... I don't even know if this song actually plays in Episode 2. It definitely plays in Episode 3. But there was some movie apparently for the second game. And it plays during that, so whatever. The big thing... is that I can't even fucking remember episode 2's like music at all. Episode 2 gets a C tier. I'm sorry. Not really. A lot of people don't like episode 2 very much. It was a very like, I mean, everyone fucking, the battle system sucked ass. Let me start there. They took a perfectly good battle system and said, what if we did none of that for the second game? And that is exactly what happened. So the battle system just got way worse. I think the soundtrack got better, but I still don't remember like anything from it. Except for this song, which again, I don't even think, I don't know if it plays in the second game or not. I'm gonna be honest with you. But just the gameplay got worse. The story was very weird. It introduces Jin, who is my favorite character. Not my favorite character, but Jin is a really fucking good character, and especially how he is in 3 is like a very, very like solid addition to the cast of Xenosaga. So it introduces him, which is cool, but it took Xion's character as she was in episode 1, which was like a really smart, very like kind, but still like clearly had like social issues and just like things going on, like just emotional stress, like clearly. It took that like kind of delicately crafted, like very like good and developed character and just said, what if she was just a bitch instead? So like she's just like, she just doesn't get the same treatment that she did in 1, and it like honestly really fucking hurt her character for me for a little bit. So like it just completely like dumbed down her character. Junior got a lot of really good development in this game that I think was necessary for sure, and like his whole like the Realian thing and like his whole his relationship with Albedo and the other guy whose name I can't remember for some reason. Gongum? It wasn't Gongum. Something like that. Guinan, that's what it was. His whole relationship with like Guinan and Albedo and like what they are in the first place. And like establishing Dmitry Yuriev as like a big force for the third game. Like it established some really important things, which is why, well, I can't say that part yet. That's going to ruin the surprise for later. But it establishes some important stuff for the series, or for the third game, I should say. But just as a game, it's just bad. And it doesn't really like do a great job of like describing a lot of the stuff either, in all honesty. So like this is one where I don't think I could ever find myself replaying it. I probably will at some point, because like you can't replay 1 and 3 and then not replay the one in the middle. It's like if you're watching the Star Wars, any Star Wars trilogy, you're gonna watch all 3 of them, right? You're not just gonna skip the one in the middle that's like not as good as the others, probably. Unless you've like watched them like 20 times and know the whole thing anyway. I barely remember a lot of this game, much like the first game. But I hold this game more at fault for that than I do the first game, because it was just kind of bad. I remember complaining a lot more while playing this compared to the first one. Yeah, the battle system just like sucked, you know? I don't think I need to really go into why it sucked. It just sucked. It was like they took the tech system, removed it completely, added the like air and down things, which I thought were actually pretty cool, because it was like the predecessors to like the topple and launch systems in Xenoblade 1 and 2, which I thought was really cool. But it just like the whole process around it just didn't fucking work, and like you couldn't customize characters at all in the second game either. You could like barely customize them in 1, in all honesty, but you could still like do enough with them to where it was like worth exploring. In 2, you just don't customize them at all. It's like you build every single character completely from scratch, and you can build every character to be the exact same character, and it was very weird. So it's like, it was almost like too much freedom to the point where it almost didn't feel like it mattered, and like none of it was really explained very well either. So yeah, Xenosaga 2, just not very good. Not the worst in the series, obviously, as we'll get to, but not very good either. So sorry, Xenosaga 2, but you're unfortunately starting a precedent that will not be fixed as we keep going. But now Xenosaga 3. Oh, Xenosaga 3. Let's fucking talk about it. This game is so fucking good. This is going to be our first addition to the horribly named, I will admit, but I wanted to give it something ridiculous, the Ultra God-Slaying Peak tier. This shit is fucking peak. This game launched its way into my top 10 ever. Just out of fucking nowhere. I did not have like high expectations for any of the Xenosaga games. This fucking blew me away. Like, just in general, it's just a fucking fantastic wrap-up for everything that's established in 1 and 2, of course, as a good end of a trilogy should be. It just fucking nailed it. It tied up pretty much every loose end that I had in mind when I was like going into it. It had some insanely good moments. The fact that this song that's playing is not the final boss theme, do you have any fucking idea how insane that was? This song goes so fucking crazy, and it's not the final boss theme. Like, there's so much cool shit. Hey, what's good, Mikey? Welcome, welcome. Thank you for the welcome back wishes. You came in on a very weird stream, I will say. I'm yapping a lot about the Xeno-Series, which is one of my favorite series ever, I've decided. So you were coming in the middle of a massive yapping session, but hope you're doing well, man. Glad to see you here. And hope you enjoy whatever it is you hear, because it's not going to make any fucking sense to you, I'm sure. But welcome all the same. How you doing, man? But no, Xenosaga 3 was fucking massive. Not only did it introduce Telos on the back, who's fucking badass. This is interesting. Hey, I'm glad, honestly. Glad to hear it. It did very necessary wonders. Glad to hear you're doing well, man. Appreciate that. Hell yeah. It did very necessary wonders for Shion's character. It fucking popped off for Cosmos's character. It popped off for everyone, honestly. I think Ziggy is probably the only person who like didn't really get like anything crazy during Xenosaga 3, but he kind of didn't need it because he like mostly got all of his shit during episode 1 even. Ziggy was like a full completion character in the very first episode, which is why he was one of my favorites from the first episode. Yo, what's good, Annie? Welcome, welcome. I do see in my little activity feed over here that you followed quite a bit ago. So sorry for not having streamed since you followed. I was in another country, but thank you for the follow and welcome. Hope you are doing well. I don't know if you are at all familiar with the Xeno-Series, but I'm going to be yapping a lot for the next like hour or so about it. So hopefully you're ready for that. Well, strap in that case. Hope you enjoy listening to me just talk about bullshit. Yeah, Ziggy literally finished his shit and was just there for the ride. And his whole, like, keep on it, let's fucking go. I will gladly do that. Thank you for the follow again, though. Happy to see you here, and hope you're doing well. But yeah, Ziggy just, like, had his whole arc, not his entire arc, obviously, but, like, most of his arc finished in the first episode and was just here for the rest of it. And I'm so glad he was, because he's such a fun character. But, like, literally every single character got very necessary development and very necessary conclusions in this game. Jin also had the coolest fucking, like, ending for his arc imaginable. Like, I almost don't want to spoil it because it's, like, that fucking good, but we did also play it on stream, technically. But, like, him holding off the whole shit so that Xion and everybody else could, like, get away at the end, like, his dying wish just being for them to escape was fucking chef's kiss. It was so good. The soundtrack was the best that it was in the whole trilogy during this game. I mean, just fucking listen to it. The combat was definitely the best that it was during the whole trilogy, for sure. The customization options as well. I'm going to hark on that a lot during the Xenoblade lineup that we're about to have. The customization is a big thing for me in this series because, like, pretty much since Xenogears, you had some, like, I mean, Xenogears itself, not so much, I guess, but, like, you have some really good options for building characters in these games, and it starts especially with Xenosaga Episode 3. Like, you get, it looks linear at first, but, like, as you actually, like, put time into it and, like, get further along, you really have some good options for, like, building characters in, like, whatever way you want to for them. Like, they're kind of siloed into, like, specific, like, roles, I guess. But you have a lot of options for, like, keeping them out of those roles if you really don't want them to be. Like, you can make Ziggy a tank that's, like, kind of what he's meant to be, for example. But he has a lot of options to be, like, not a tank, if that makes sense. So, like, that part of it was really cool for me. And just, like, oh, just the whole fucking thing. The whole last 5-hour stream that we did of this game, like, fully sold me on it. Because, like, Alan fucking Allen, the punching bag of the whole trilogy, had his big moment during those last 5 hours, and I fucking cried during it. It was so good. Like, he fucking killed it. Every character gets very necessary improvements to just their personalities, their development, everything during this game, and it nails it at all points, I think. Chef's Kiss, 5 out of 5 stars. It's in my top 10 ever now. Definitely want to replay it at some point. Not for the fact that I think I need to. It's just more of like with Xenosaga 1 and 2 and with Xenogears, I feel like I need to replay them at some point. Just because, like, I don't know if I fully, like, appreciated them the first time through. I don't know if I fully got it the first time through. But with episode 3, I just want to replay it because it was that fucking good. I got it the first time through, but I just wanted to play it again because it was just very, very good. Very solid game. Highly recommend it. Even though the fact, like, you know, 1 is an A tier, still very good. Definitely recommend playing it. 2, if you liked 1 a lot, you gotta play 2. But like 3 is really what we're on. They were on some good shit for 3. Welcome back, Trev. We are yapping. You have entered the yap zone. We got Basil on the chair over here. Basil is on the chair because the chair was originally intended for this gargantuan lad that I'm about to show you. This fucking guy. He is one of the things I brought back from Japan. Hana got him for me. Hey, what's good, Lo? How we doing? Sorry that you're seeing this if you were watching the stream, but your favorite son. He's so big. Look at him. Like, look at the fucking size of this lad. That it did go into my checked luggage, yeah. He was shoved into the suitcase and he made it perfectly fine. Thankfully. But yeah, he was originally going to go on the chair, and then I put Basil up there to see if he'd actually stay, and he did. So Basil is taking over the chair, and once Basil leaves, he will go there instead. But I'm not kicking Basil off. That's for damn sure. But yeah. Xenosaga 3 must play in my opinion. Basil is such a cat. He really is. He really is. C tier does mean okay. Xenosaga 2 was definitely very okay. I would not personally want to replay it, but I probably will at some point just because I feel the need to replay it to, like, understand it better. Excuse me, Jesus. Yeah, C tier is like okay. This is like, again, peak. And then SS plus tier is like insanely fucking good. A tier is like, it's very good. I would recommend playing them, but they definitely have flaws. B tier is somewhere in between that and like, This is like mid, for sure. I don't like SS plus tier than A tier. I don't care. I did make the list, yes. I only needed 5 tiers, and going from Ultra God Slaying Peak tier, as I named it, into like anything besides whatever, because I still really love the games that are going to be in SS plus tier. So like, I want it to reflect that. The Xeno 2 effect, it's worse than the second run. It might be, honestly, but we'll find out. It is another Xeno 2 after all, so you never know. Yeah, no, I kind of just made these as a joke more than anything. Where's the Xeno 2 tier? Don't worry about it. But speaking of Xeno Blade, we have the next one to go to. The peak of the peak, if you will. We got Xenoblade 1. Xenoblade 1 gets its own segment. Thank you, Godsib. Everyone say thank you, Godsib. We are moving on to Xenoblade 1. Let me fucking tell you, it's kind of insane that we get the 2 that are going into this tier happen right in a row. Xenoblade 1 is the fucking peak of the peak, man. This shit is so fucking good. I could rant for fucking hours about how good this game is, and maybe I even will. But some necessary background for it, just so we're all on the same page here, because there is a little bit of bias to it, I will say. I don't know how well it's going to show up on the screen, but if you look at that little sticker there, that is a GameStop pre-owned sticker from 2013 that says $80. This was the first time the game was ever released in North America, officially, I think. And without ever having even played it, no idea if I would like it or not, I said, fuck it, I've heard really good things about it, we're buying it. And holy shit, my 16-year-old ass was not ready to hit the yoinky spoinky on this one.
Baby. Oh yeah. You see that, eh?
Leave it to us! Thank you for the 10 bits, Urban. Appreciate that. I was not fucking ready for this game, man. This shit is so fucking good. I mean, where do I even fucking start, man? The story? Mwah, chef's kiss. The fucking first 3 hours, I was so locked in. Yesk, absolutely. It's a yesk for me. I was so locked in the first 3 hours. Like, absolutely. I'm not going to talk about what happens in the first 3 hours, obviously, because if you haven't played it before, you need to fucking play this video game. It is a requirement. But, like, just the big event that happens in the first 3 hours had me hooked immediately. I was so on board with Shulk and Ryan as characters right from the get-go, and it only got better from there. To give a proper, like, a game... I'm not going to say a game never hooked me like Xenoblade 1 did, because I did play Mother 3 first, and Mother 3 is my favorite game of all time. And that, like, had a similar hook for me as well. And a similar amount of time, too. It took about 3 hours for the Mother 3 hook as well. So, like, I can't say that no other game has ever hooked me like this, but, like, for a game on the Wii to do that was so fucking impressive to me. And this is, like, after the Wii U came out. Like, the Wii was done. I was ready to fight with Shulk, right? And it's like, the crazy thing for me about this is that my first playthrough of this game was probably like the least ideal playthrough you could ever have, because I spent the first 15 or 20 hours not knowing you could play as characters besides Shulk. I thought you were just locked into him the whole time, and I didn't even care, because I was like, he's such a fucking fun character to play as, and he's such a fun protagonist. But then I found out you could play as Ryan, and I went fucking crazy once I found out you could play as Ryan. But it took me a long time to realize that, and it took me an even longer time to realize you can fucking fast travel. I walked from Guar Plains, the Bionis' leg, back down to Colony 9 on foot the whole time, and then walked my ass all the way back up 15 hours into the fucking game before I realized there was a fucking fast travel system. This game has issues to some degree. That being one of them, you know, that's more on me than the game, I will say. However, it was not intuitive that you could fast travel, and it's not very intuitive that you can switch characters. So, you know, maybe I wasn't reading, but I don't think it's explained very well in the original game. I think it's explained better in the definitive edition, but whatever. But like, that small thing aside, this game was peak. Absolutely. There probably was a tutorial that I skipped, in all honesty. I did most of the tutorials, I will say that, but I did skip some of them, because there's a lot of fucking tutorials in this game. But like, yeah, just, again, even on the Wii, this game looked fucking great. I know people will like look at the old art style and be like, wow, this looks like donkey ass. Because yeah, it looks a little ass when you look at it, like, you know, when you look at like this side by side. Yeah, obviously this fucking like cryptid does not look as good as like Switch Shulk does. But like, for this to be on the Wii, for like this shit to be happening on the Wii, was incredible. And it's also the fact that like, this is it's based on the original art style for Shulk, is like what they were going for. And I love this original art style over here better than like the definitive edition art style, for sure. Like, obviously this looks kind of gross. That's not, I don't think Fiora can ever look like that. I don't know what's going on here. But like, obviously this looks a little gross nowadays. But like, And the UI also looks a little gross nowadays compared to the definitive edition, but like this shit looked so fucking good on the Wii before we had definitive edition like graphics to compare against. Like this shit was incredible. And like I still love these like original art style like key art things that they had. Like these are still way fucking better if you ask me. And also just Ryan's face in general. I hate what they did to Ryan in the Switch version. I gotta be honest. Him looking like this was so necessary to me. Cause like what is happening with this fucking face here? This gormless ass. This was necessary. This I'll take. This was an improvement, but Ryan lost something in the switch to HD. I can't describe it fully, but he lost something, and he'll never be the same. But no, just like, again, Shulk is... He's gormless, man. They de-gormified my mans. But like, I don't even know, man. Shulk is my favorite protagonist ever. In like anything. He is such like, he's just such a fucking good character, man. He has like obviously established strengths at the beginning. Like he's obviously established as like a tinkerer. He loves working with machines. He's very smart. He like does that shit. So him being able to just like take over the Monado, and like he's been researching the Monado for years. So, like him being able to take it over at the beginning of the game, knowing the risks of it, by the way, which makes it such a good moment even for being that early on. It makes sense. Obviously, there's a lot we don't know at that point that makes it make even more sense when you do know it. But, like, just the fact, like, what they established of his character alone makes it make sense that he would have the Monado that early on. And then it only starts to make more sense as the game goes on. And, like, his character, like, has obvious flaws. It's just like Xion. Like, Xion's an insanely good protagonist because she has very good qualities and is, like, just a very fun protagonist to follow around, but she has very real and very like human flaws and characteristics about her. Like she has emotional trauma that she has to deal with. She like is rude towards people without even really meaning to be. She like doesn't fully trust some people, but then puts too much trust in other people who are like clearly trying to harm her. Like she has flaws that you like go through and experience with her throughout the whole trilogy of Xenosaga. And Shulk is the exact same way. He is this insanely smart young man who's got all of this like experience working with the Monado, all this knowledge tinkering with like fallen Mechon and other machines and everything. He makes sense to be the protagonist going against the Mechon, especially after what happened in the first 3 hours. But he also like has self-doubt issues, and especially once he's like getting these visions and doesn't know what to do with them yet, he has a hard time relying on Ryan and the rest of his party like he knows he should, because he feels like it's his responsibility to do it all himself. Like he has very real, very human issues that he goes through throughout the whole game, and you see him transform as a character throughout the entire fucking game. That one moment that Trev showed on his stream not too long ago of like Shulk holding Dunban back as he's about to like try and, you know, murder this one dude. It's like, it's a media literacy test for sure, but it's like, it's such a big turning point of Shulk's character because his actions are like, you could see him like getting the idea for it as the game is going on, as he's learning more about the situation that he's in and it's like everyone's in. He's like, his perception of everything's changing. He's not just this like stagnant character that never fucking like grows or changes his worldview like someone else we're going to talk about in a couple minutes. He grows the whole fucking time, and he's not the same character that he was at the beginning, not even fucking close. Like the main bullet points are still there sort of, but like all the other subtext around him is like completely fucking gone at that point. He's a completely changed person, and it's all like you see it happen in real time, and you like get to experience that with him, and that's what's so fucking cool about it, man. And it's like that one snippet of the story that is Shulk's character, it's the whole fucking thing, man. Like, you are learning shit about the world that you are walking on the entire time that the game is going, and then they throw in a whole fucking other world halfway through. It's just so fucking good, man. It's so good. The music is insane. Obviously, the combat system, I love it. Obviously, there's people out there who don't, which is like, whatever. You can be wrong. That's fine. But I'm not. Like, seriously, this is not the right game, but here we go. It's like every character, all 7 characters that you have, except for Shulk himself, are insanely, I mean, Shulk is insanely customizable too, but it's like every character is insanely customizable. You have 16 arts to choose from. You can build them to be any fucking class you want them to be, more or less. You have all these options for the armor they wear, the gems that they wear that can impact their stats to be more or less similar to the role that you're trying to get them to fill. You have all the skills, and then you also have all the fucking other partner skills that you get to share between the party members because they fuck with each other like that, man. Xenoblade 1's cast fucking loves each other. And I don't get, and same with Xenosaga's cast. I didn't say it enough during Xenoblade 3's section, or Xenosaga 3's section, sorry. But like Xenosaga 3's cast, like, are a family. They all fucking love each other. And like you can clearly tell that in the way they interact with each other. And it's the same with Xenoblade 1's party members as well. Like they all clearly fuck with each other. Throughout the main story, like not any missable content, they have conversations that are like, only like close friends would be having these conversations, man. And they're just like having them in the middle of fucking nowhere on a beach after they all got separated. Dunban and Ricky have like one of the like fucking best cutscenes together of them just yapping about like having to be a father figure and like the burden that comes with that. And it's like, have you fucking seen Ricky? Like, this motherfucker is the one that's having this like fucking insane heart-to-heart in a normal cutscene that cannot be like, you're not gonna miss it unless you skip it, I guess. Like, it's crazy. It's so fucking good. Happy to hear you talk that shit. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Xenoblade 1's combat is peak. That is true. People who do not like that the arts have to cool down, they're weak and they will not survive the winter. That is my take on it. It's all just so good. Xenoblade 1 is a fucking... Again, he does canonically fuck, that is true. This gormless little freak canonically fucks. What are you doing? Look at this guy, man. Look, I don't know what this is all about, but look at him. He's so good. So yeah, this game is absolutely peak, for sure. And I can't say enough good about it, honestly. If you haven't played it, please play it. It's so good. You will not regret it. You can skip everything else that we've talked about so far and everything else that's on this list. Especially skip everything after whatever this is. I don't know what the fuck's going on after all this. But you can skip all the other shit. Just play this one, man. It's so fucking worth your time. It's so good. And that's all I'm gonna say about it. Or is it? This game is fucking peak. If you have not played Xenoblade Chronicles 1 on the Nintendo Switch or the Nintendo Wii or even the fucking Nintendo 3DS, play that shit. If you don't like the combat system, your brain is smooth. Smoother than marbles even. You don't know what you're fucking talking about. This game is peak. It's got it all. It's got the story. It's got the combat. It's got the music, man. It's fucking peak. This is an aggressive sound. Sorry, I had this song queued up specifically to do that. Go out and play it. Go out to your local Best Buy right now and buy this video game and play it. It is so worth your time. You will not regret playing Xenoblade Chronicles 1 on either the Nintendo Switch or the Nintendo Wii or the Nintendo 3DS, I guess. And even better yet, hit that fucking yoinky sploinky. God, I'm fucking losing my mind. This shit's so good. It's peak, man. It's peak. One of these days.
West,
that's all I need, man.
Yoinky please!
Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah. You see that, eh? Leave it to West.
West,
Thank you, Urban, for the 10 bits again. I appreciate it. Oh, I forgot to queue up fucking Xenoblade X. I know.
West, hit that yoinky sploinky, please!
Oh yeah, baby.
Oh yeah.
You see that, eh? Leave it to West.
I forgot to queue up
West.
Xenoblade X. My bad. Hang on. And we're not even like doing that yet anyway, because I forgot Future Connected. So remember everything I just said about Xenoblade 1? You type fast. Thank you. I make several typos per word. That's my secret. I'm always making typos. Xenoblade 1 Future Connected. Remember everything I just said good about Xenoblade 1? Yeah, fuck all that. Xenoblade 1 Future Connected goes down here. Future Connected is not good. Yeah, like everything good I had to say is just fucking out of there. So the music is still fine, obviously. I mean, just fucking listen to it. But the combat system, garbage. We took the combat system you love so much, removed every fucking good mechanic. I forgot to mention the vision mechanic even, the best mechanic in JRPGs ever. Forgot to mention that. That's out the window. Chain attacks, fuck you, never heard of them, out the window. You wanted dynamic party members that you've never played with before? Fuck you. You get clones of Charlotte and Ryan, and they're not even good. Fuck you. Like, just everything sucks in Future Connected, honestly. It's like they forgot what made Xenoblade 1 so good. They got too fucking, like, Xenoblade 2 pilled in the process of making it, and we're like, how did we do this the first time? I don't fucking know. Just throw some shit in there. And they sure did. You must have never caught a Pokemon. Future Connected really does fall on its face, yeah. Hey, you can't hate on this remix of It's Time to Play. Come on now. This shit's good. Those enemies are annoying as fuck. That is true, yeah. But no, Xenoblade Future Connected is just like the story of it kind of like doesn't matter almost. I still don't even really know what the story of Future Connected actually meant, and I've played every other fucking game in the series. So like, it's just not worth it, man. But yeah, it's like everything that I liked about Xenoblade 1 just didn't come back in Future Connected. You get more time with Shulk and Melia, I guess, which is kind of cool, but it's like, where's the rest of the party, you know? Did you forget to pay their voice actors? You probably forgot to pay their voice actors because the rest of the party member isn't in here, and they really should be. Yeah, I knew that, like, the world deletion events in 3 relate back to this, but, like, I just didn't even remember, like, the explanation of, like, where the fog shit came from in this. I think it's just because, like, the world of 2 is just getting closer, and that's what causes the fog, right? Something like that. So it didn't fucking matter. You can just fully skip Future Connected and then just play 3, and it'll make just as much sense, honestly. It's supposed to be them finishing the cut content from the original. It changes too much from 1. See, I didn't even know it was meant for it to be that. I thought it was just like a little extra thing they threw in because like, oh, we're making Xenoblade 3 and this part of the story won't make much sense if we don't just like throw in something to explain it. And then they didn't even do a good job of that, in my opinion. But whatever. Either way, like, I can't even recommend Future Connected. It's just like not good. Why am I playing as Keynote if you're playing as 7? Rice! Because we could have also been playing as, like, original 7, too. It's whatever. But, yeah, Future Connected, not good. If you, like, have played every other part of the Xeno-Series up to this point, and Future Connected is the one thing you haven't played, then, like, yeah, play it. It's only 20 hours anyway. But it's, like, if you played the first game and only plan to play the first game, don't play Future Connected. It's just not good. I did remember hearing that the Biona's shoulder was like a cut area. Yeah, but I didn't think that like the story part of it was cut, or was that not part? If I had to play one of these games on an emulator to start, what would you recommend? So go in the VOD and then rewind about 5 minutes before where we're at currently. And there's no, I mean, I'm insanely biased, but I mean, Xenoblade 1 is like the best game ever. Almost, in my opinion. So I would definitely start there. It depends also, like, if you're more of, like, an old school JRPG fan, then, like, Xenogears is actually an insanely good one to start with, in my opinion. But if you're like, not a big JRPG fan, or just, like, more modern JRPGs in general, I would definitely say Xenoblade 1, for sure. Because Xenoblade 1 stands completely on its own. All of the Xenoblade games stand completely on their own, pretty much. But, like, Xenoblade 1 is just the best one in by far, in my opinion. Xenosaga, I would definitely say save for, like, if you play either Xenoblade 1 or Xenogears and, like, really fucking love it, then I would say, like, go for Xenosaga. Because, like, Xenosaga is, like, a little shitty at times. Xenosaga, like, as a whole is insanely good. But you have to go through Xenosaga 2 to get to Xenosaga 3, and Xenosaga 2 is bad. So, that's just my opinion, though. The story is mostly original, but the region itself is cut. Okay, I think I did know about that at some point, but that is good to be reminded, so thank you for that, Urban. Appreciate that. Check them both out to get the vibe that fits with me. That's what we like to hear, honestly. Love to hear that for you. So yeah, that's enough about... I mean, there's honestly not much to say about Future Connected. These little shits sucked. I kind of get why they were there, but I wish they weren't. Shulk's fit, low-key kind of bad, and not in a good way. Melia's fit's kind of sick, but the Monado drip is not going as hard as he thinks it is, man. That's all I'm going to say about that. And I don't think I really have much else. I don't like this drip as much as his, like, actual drip. I like the... It's just weird. I don't know. It doesn't feel like something Shulk would wear. Personally, I don't think that way, but whatever. So next up is the one I forgot to queue up music for. Is there, like, an extended version of this, or, like, am I gonna get, like, doinked here? Nobody? Okay. But that's not the... Is this the daytime one? That's the daytime one. The daytime one is fine, but we're looking for... That's Oblivia. Fucking whatever. We're gonna get a weird loop on this one. I don't have a ton to say about... Sick. Nice basketball. I don't have a ton to say about Xenoblade X, so it's fine. I know, the loop is just gonna sound weird, but it's fine. So, Xenoblade X. You might have been watching this so far and being like, okay, Reno, I get the idea of the top tier, and I get the idea of the bottom tier, and I kind of get what you're going for with the middle one, but what's these other two for? This B tier is for Xenoblade X. Sorry for anyone impacted by the storm in Cleveland. There's a storm happening in Cleveland? Oh, you mean the one from last week? Yeah. Yeah, that was a pretty bad one. For sure. I was not in the country when it was happening, so I don't know how bad it actually was, but I heard it was pretty bad. People lost power for a while. But this sounds like Burning Men's Soul from P1. Don't know what that means. This game is very pretty. So Xenoblade X is a very interesting video game. Because for starters, the story is like actual dog shit. Like, the story might as well just not even be there. And the developers themselves even said, this story is not meant to be, like, experienced, really. Like, they didn't give a shit with the story at all. But the gameplay and the visuals are fucking insane in this game. This is a game... Spent yesterday cleaning up the tree and glass off your parents' car. God. I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully your mom got, like, a decent insurance payout out of that, considering the tree just fucking, like, destroyed her car. But yeah, anyone who is in or around the Cleveland area, hope that you have power and hope that there wasn't too much damage to any property you may have. The interns did the story of this one, right? So the game visually looks phenomenal. The downside is that because it's the Wii U, they released about 14 gigabytes of DLC that you have to download to play the game for it to actually function even remotely well. And with the Nintendo eShop now being gone, you cannot get that DLC anymore. There's probably people who've uploaded it somewhere online or something. You can probably, like, get it illegally. Or just fucking emulate the game. But the DLC, it was free DLC at least. They at least had the decency to do that, but you cannot download it now. So I had a flash drive with all of that DLC on it somewhere, and then I lost it somewhere in one of my multiple moves over the past 8 years. Okay, there's the loop. Okay. But when that DLC is installed, this game looks fucking great. And again, the gameplay, this is the most fun I've had playing any game in this whole series. The main reason being because the game heavily focuses on exploration. The Wii U gamepad, as stupid as it was, focused very well. Yeah, 14 gig day zero patch to play the game. Correct. You can see why this game wasn't a very popular one. But the gamepad actually functions very well here because the whole thing functions as a very interactive map that you do a lot of shit with. And the whole point of the game pretty much is just to explore as much as possible. And the character that you play as is a fucking Olympian athlete that can sprint at 30 miles per hour and does a 30-foot high jump for some reason. So exploring as your player character is actually insanely fun, and you can just cheese the fuck out of most of the geography in the game. And I was definitely doing that. I played a lot of this game while recovering from a wisdom tooth surgery, and I was fucking delirious as hell trying to climb up mountains just with the character. And it was some of the best fucking time I've ever had with the whole Xeno-Series. It was so fucking fun. Yeah, the main character needs to go to the fucking Lakers for sure. So the combat system is a minorly watered down version of the combat system from 1, in my opinion. They replaced characters having fully customizable and unique arts with instead classes that have fully customizable and unique arts. So as long as you didn't have too much class overlap, it wasn't that bad. But if you're like me and the two characters that you liked had the same class, sorry bro, get fucked. Either pick a different character or deal with a suboptimal team. I dealt with a suboptimal team. Call me an idiot all you want to, but it worked out for me. And then one of them also had the same classes I was trying to use for the player character, so I had to completely switch that shit up. So, you can swim for 8 years nonstop. Bro is a triathlon king, for sure. Or homegirl, you can play as a girl in this one. Because you just customize your character, which is part of the reason why it sucks so bad, is the player character is just a create-a character, so they're a silent protagonist in a series that so far has had very, very good protagonists that say a lot of things. So, suboptimal to JRPG sounds like my kind of time. See, the crazy thing is I would absolutely recommend Xenoblade X, but you can't fucking play it anymore. Unless you, pirate it, I guess. But, no, the game is very good, but it is also very weird. The soundtrack alone is a very good example of what the fuck am I listening to half the time. It's corny, but in a really, really good way. So it's good in my opinion. I'm a very big fan of it personally. I will back alley pass off that flash drive. Let's fucking go. Urban Paladin keeping the Xenoblade X fandom alive all by himself. Persona 3. It's imagine Persona 3, except you could argue that the music's bad. Persona 3, you can argue that you cannot argue that Persona 3's music is bad because it's kind of objectively not. Xenoblade X's music is you can definitely argue that it's kind of dog shit because it kind of is. But it's corny dog shit. So it's kind of funny to listen to, and then because it's funny to listen to, you end up just liking it at some point. And that's what happened to me. It's this song kind of sucks, honestly. I need to play the daytime theme of this actually, because this song, FES, is kind of corny. The Dorm song is nuts, yeah. This song fucking sucks, objectively. This song got shit on so hard. Same with the main battle theme. The song got shit on so hard when the game came out, and yet you play 60 hours of this JRPG and you're damn, NLA day theme kind of fucking goes crazy. So, it's just one of those things. But Xenoblade X is very, very good. It's Stockholm Syndrome music. Like, this song is not good. Listen to it, man. It's bad. But I love it. It's so weird. But no, gameplay perspective, this is the best game in the whole series. Story perspective, it's utter dog shit. So it's just one of them ones. It's very much like a you had to be there kind of game, I would say. Especially now for the fact that you can't like legally play it anymore. But it's a time. It's a time for sure. I had a lot of fun with it, and that's why it gets a B tier. I'm glad I wasn't there. You were there for part of it. You got to see the tiny ass text that you like literally couldn't read. If you didn't have like a 40-inch TV or larger, you were not reading the text in Xenoblade X. And that's just a fact. Again, I was trying to read that shit while like high off of wisdom tooth medicine and
1, 2, 3, 4.
man. Well, yeah. So next game, I'm gonna turn that shit off. Next game. Oh boy, Xenoblade 2. Do you guys want to know? Do you guys want to take a guess as to where this game falls on the tier list? I bet you can't guess. And I know you can't guess, in fact. A story meant to be felt, not read. Exactly. It's a new tier of ass. We get a new tier for this shit. This shit is Omega dog ass tier. This shit sucks. Xenoblade 2 fucking sucks. I can rant for so long. Basil is tired of it. Do you know how many times he's heard this argument? He has heard me talk about this 30 different times in the past 3 years that I've had him. He is so tired of it. This game is just bad. Everything that I had good to say about Xenoblade 1 referenced 20 minutes ago, it's all out the fucking window with this game, man. The story, ass. I will get there. The gameplay, ass. You tell me that you can't handle the 20-second timer on Sword Drive in fucking Xenoblade 1, but then having to just spam the movement so you can keep fucking hitting the same auto attack over and over so you can spam chain arts in a row. That's fucking peak gameplay to you? Are you out of your fucking mind? It's dumb. It just sucks. The battles are like the least engaging shit ever. They're easy as fuck and just take forever for no reason. The actual like strategy is just setting up a party, and that party is determined by fucking gacha. What do you want me to do? I got bad luck on my first fucking gacha pull, so now I can't have like, I have just a suboptimal party off fucking rip because I got Baymax as my fucking first rare blade instead of one that can actually do damage. Like, what am I supposed to fucking do? But Pokemon's a gacha. Ugh. Pokemon show up at random times. You don't choose that. So that's a gacha, right? Oh, bye, Basil. You see, Basil's fucking tired of it. He's heard this rant so many times. So now Pichu goes there instead. Now Pichu gets to hear it for the first time. I'm gonna wake up and Pichu won't be here anymore. He's gonna leave the apartment somehow because he's tired of hearing me talk about this. But yeah, the combat sucks. The blade system sucks. I got all the blades instead of I got like 3 of them after 300 hours of grinding. I saw somebody on Twitter who was defending not 3,300. I don't know how you even managed to do that, honestly. I saw somebody on Twitter who was defending the gacha system, by the way, say that they have never gotten Cosmos and they've played the game like 4 times. Like, what are we doing? Cosmos is like a 1%, less than 1% chance to get. I got it, by the way. Built different, entirely. Oh, 30, not 300. Gotcha. But still, 30 hours and still not even being able to get all of the fucking... You can complete multiple Pokedexes in 30 hours. Like, think about that. How do you defend that? I don't know. But the gameplay took everything that I liked about Xenoblade 1's gameplay and threw it out the fucking window. I will never forget, Trev and I even sat down to play the first couple hours of Xenoblade 2 together because it just happened to come out when we were on winter break for school and I happened to be down there to say my goodbyes before I went to a different country. And I remember like playing it with him. And we got to the point of, like, being able to, like, you know, customize the party a little bit. And I was fucking disappointed. At first sight, of seeing the customization options, because for your characters, you get to pick 2 accessories, and that's about it. You get like nothing else to put in there, and you get like the fucking like mobile game timed buff shit or whatever. It's like this game is just a fucking mobile game with like console game skin wrapped over it. Chapter 1 of Xenoblade 2 is the best part. False. I will get to that. Chapter 1 starts off fine and then ends in the dumbest way possible. Like, Rex just gets Pyra. And the introduction to Pyra is just like, it's the most, like, what are we doing kind of thing. Like, there's the obvious, like, haha, touch my chest joke. Like, that's the obvious one. But then also the fact that she, like, wakes up after 500 years and is immediately doing backflips and shit and, like, running circles around Malos, who's been around this entire fucking time. And then has the fucking audacity to be like, haha, I'm still waking up a little bit. I'm not that powerful yet. It's like, what are you fucking talking about? Feels like a mobile game that got ported to the Switch. Yeah. Because, I mean, there's the gacha system, which is the most damning part of it for sure. But then there's also the fact that there's fucking mobile game-esque missions that you can send blades on that are like, you just pick 5 blades or whatever and send them to like go get groceries or something, and it takes 40 minutes, and when you come back you get like some really dinky rewards for it, and the game fucking requires you to do it at some point to progress the story. There's like the field skills, which are also required at one point in the story, but they're not. The gacha's not required. Fuck you. It's so. This fucking game sucks. But the biggest thing, I was like, okay, my story with this game is that I got it. I was really excited when a Xenoblade 2 was announced because I loved Xenoblade 1 so much and Xenoblade X. I saw the trailer for it, saw the art style, and I said, this shit looks like ass. And I was just hoping the entire time leading up to the game, and when I first started playing it, that my initial impression was not going to be right, and oh my god, it was even worse than I originally thought it was going to be. I played the entire game all the way through while I was studying abroad in Japan, which has nothing to do with it, but it's just, you know, that is the thing that was happening. I was having the best time of my life while playing the worst game I've ever played in my life, so, you know. Art does not necessarily reflect reality or whatever the saying is, but we don't like the cutscene for Shulk has some goated ass character development. Right! That's one to play this actual dog shit if you don't do 24 fucking hours of that. Half the rare blade heart to hearts and affinity charts are locked behind the Merc missions. Are they really? Dude, the side content of this game is so fucking bad. Because it requires you to A, even get the character in the first place, the rare blade in the first place to get the heart to heart. Then you have to find the heart to heart, which is, it's not like it's put on a map anywhere or something. Like, you have to fucking go out into the world and find this fucking, like, side quest or heart to heart or whatever that just randomly shows up only when you get the blade. I'm gonna highlight the whole tier list, honestly. the whole tier list will be uploaded to YouTube because I'm proud of it so far. I may not be speaking myself in the most articulate way for some of these, but like whatever. But the biggest thing about this and my biggest disappointment is the story. And this one I will spoil because fuck it. You need to spoil it. Rex is a bad protagonist. I don't understand why so many people like dick ride Rex as if he's like the best thing to ever happen to JRPGs. Everything that I had good to say about Shulk does not fucking exist with Rex. Rex's whole bit is that he's like the cookie cutter, like shonen protagonist of I'm nice to everyone. I think everyone deserves a second chance. I think everyone can be like talked to avoid conflict. He's Naruto in that sense. But then take the part of Naruto, like take that part of Naruto, like the low-key annoying part that everyone kind of like shits on, and then remove the part where he's like, I had to work really hard to get to where I am. Ignore the Kaguya shit. Who cares? I had to work really hard to get where I am. I have a lot of comrades who I rely on heavily and who I have worked hard to build a relationship with. I started off with, like, some bullshit. I'm not gonna lie. He's got Kurama in him. We all know that. But he, like, put in the work to, like, tame Kurama and, like, have a heart-to-heart with him and, like, reframe his power into something that they're using together rather than just, like, it being a toxic relationship kind of thing. Like, Naruto did some shit to get to the point that he ends up being at. Again, ignore the Kaguya shit, because that didn't happen. Rex is just the first part, And then also the part of like inheriting insane power that's beyond his like scope of being, but then has none of the hard work, none of the like good relationship building techniques or anything, and just like none of the fun. Like he's just boring. He's the same character that, because the thing that I said about Shulk, where like Shulk at the end of the game is very different from Shulk at the beginning of the game. Rex is the exact opposite. He's the same fucking character that he was from the moment the credits roll, or from the beginning of the game to the moment the credits roll. Nothing develops with him. The one time he gets like a very solid chance at a solid like character development, it's like the characters just shit on him the whole time, and it's like that's not even his fault. I'll even give him that. That's not even his fault. He hit his lowest of the low moment, and was like, it should have been like, my party members are gonna talk me back into this and like get me up on the up and up, and I'm gonna hit my fucking like peak or whatever. But instead his comrades just shit on him for it. And we're like, you're a 15-year-old and you're walking away from this insane responsibility you were given. What the fuck is wrong with you? It's like, did you just hear the sentence that came out of your mouth? What the fuck's wrong with you? It's like he is put into a really awful situation, doesn't do anything about it, and then like other people expect him to do shit about it too. So it's like nobody does anything good. Xenoblade 2 is the definition of an idiot story. If you've ever heard that phrase, it's the idea that the story can only happen if every person involved is a fucking idiot, and that's Xenoblade 2. Because like after that whole cutscene of like, I'm down in the dumps, I like fucked up and I'm like giving up, and then his party members are like, you're a fucking asshole for wanting to give up or whatever. After that, they fucking just hand him the keys to success. They're like, oh yeah, by the way, this like ancient sword that's like resting in your fucking birthplace, and you can literally get it because of birthright. Like, you could just go grab that and you'll fix everything. And he's like, oh, bet? Sick. And then he just does that, and then he's the fucking strongest in the verse for some reason after that. It's bad. Rex does not like, and then like all the shit where like he's a bad driver at first. Pyra does nothing to help him with that, by the way. It's like, Pyra's just like, oh, it's okay, honey, you're fine. Like, she like never tells him that she's like being overworked. She never tells him anything about being a driver. He's not a fucking driver until he like gets Pyra. And no one fucking tells him anything. And then the one character who gives enough of a shit to like give him a damn tutorial about the way the world works fucking dies 4 hours later. And like as the player, you're like, that's kind of shitty, but okay. But then like in the frame of the game, it's like, this is the worst thing to ever happen to me. And then we have made the Xenoblade pun, yeah. The Xenoblade pun has been a, I should have actually called this the Xeno-Series tier list, actually, but whatever. the Xenoblade pun is very big in here. Also, do I know you IRL, Annie? Or I don't know how much my name has been said in this chat, so it's probably been said enough times that the pun can just naturally be made. I don't know. But I'm always curious now, especially when you also... Oh, shit. Well, welcome. Good to see you, man. Hell yeah. Xenoblade evolved into Reno Freak. It did do that at one point. You were not wrong. How you doing, man? Welcome to the chat, man. You picked a really good stream to tune in for the first one then. Holy shit. What the fuck was I even saying? I'm like, I got flashbanged by that. I did not expect. Devolved into Reno Freak, yeah, that's for sure. And yeah, Xenoblade 2 was just like a freaky game. I talked about it during Torna, especially, and I will talk about it more during Torna. But like, Xenoblade 2 is like, you'll have a nice little cutscene of like character interactions, and then they'll just throw in some horny shit for some reason and just completely ruin the vibe. And it's like, who asked for this? Like, why did we decide it was a good idea to just like completely corrupt the vibes of this like perfectly fine cutscene? But like, the only good characters in the whole fucking thing are Annie Dillard is an author. Gotcha. Okay, that makes a lot of sense then. That makes more sense. Well, welcome. Glad to have you around. Hope you don't mind the yap fest too much. But I'm passionate about this shit, man. But like, fuck, man. Bam 3 trying to, no, like literally though, but like unironically, that's like what happens. And like Pyra and Myth are like the only good characters in the whole fucking thing. Rex, maybe. I liked Nia a lot, and then they ruined her whole character arc by having her, like, confess her love to Rex, which, like, literally makes no fucking sense in the context of her character, and I will never shut up about that, because her whole bit is, like, she was part of a fucking terrorist organization because she was, like, alone in the world, and she had, like, shitty things happen to her, which, like, I get it. Wartime, shitty things happen. That's what happened to her. She found solace in, which one gives the best head, Pyro or Mithra? It's just insane. But, like, Nia got, like, abandoned because of wartime shit. Wanted a family to replace that with. Found family in Torna, which is a terrorist organization, and was like, I kind of don't care that they're terrorists because, like, they fuck with me and I fuck with them, and that's all I really need right now. And then, like, Rex comes in, completely, like, interferes with that. And, like, Nia's just, like, on his case a lot for it. But then, like, over time, she's like, okay, this guy's actually not, like, that much of an asshole. I kind of fuck with him. Like, fucks with him more, kind of fucks with the rest of the party, which I'll get to, because, like, no one really fucks with the rest of the party. And then it's, like, the culmination should have been, for her character, that, like, hey, I found a family in this, like, really shitty organization that we're all against now. Now I can instead say that I found family in you guys, because you guys have helped me, like, overcome my own insecurities and everything. But instead it turned into, hey, Rex, by the way, I love you. Like, why? It made no sense. There was nothing up to that point to fucking, like, ever lead to that conclusion. The game just wanted Rex to have a harem. The game wanted Rex to be an isekai protagonist, and that's what he is. It's the same level of depth as an isekai protagonist, which is to say none. It's the same level of, like, development as an isekai protagonist, which is to say none. And all of the, like, extra power and shit that he gets is because of things beyond his control. That's Rex. That's Xenoblade 2's story. And, like, to sing a little bit of praise for Xenoblade 2, because believe it or not, there is some shit that deserves praise. The whole, like, background information, the lore behind, like, Blades, how they came to be, the Cloud Sea, what's beneath the Cloud Sea, and the World Tree, and how that all came to be, and how it all ties back to what Xenoblade 1 established in its lore, that was all really good, I thought. Honestly, genuinely, I thought it was really good. I thought it was well done. I thought it was well told. And especially Chapter 8 is my favorite chapter in the game, because you, as Rex, pretty much just as Rex and Mithra, get to go down beneath the Cloud Sea and, like, see the world as it was before the events that led to the creation of the Cloud Sea and the creation of the World Tree and everything. You get to see all of that, and that's really fucking cool. Guess what also happens in that same fucking chapter, though? They have an unskippable thing where you have to choose, you literally have to choose between Pyra and Mithra. As the player, the game basically forces you to say which one gives the best head. In a metaphorical sense, you literally have to choose which one it is. When instead it could have just been like, oh, well, I'll just call you something new for, like, your third form, instead of just like, well, which one are you in the third form? It's just like, it's just so, the game has so much wrong with it. The combat system sucks. The music is good, obviously, and the game actually looks pretty decent. Minus the way the characters themselves look, the environments and everything actually look pretty fucking good, if you ask me. Especially for being their first one on the Switch. Pick your fetish, mommy or tsundere, right? And that's my other, like, big issue, is that, like, every character just comes down to a trope, man. It's like Pyra and Mithra are supposed to have these, like, insane, like, backstories to them, and, like, they should be having all this development, and they do, like, have development, but it, like, it's still, even after the development, it still kind of just gets blindsided by Pyra's, like, a mommy character and Mithra's a tsundere. It's like, all the Blades are tropes. It all just, like, no matter what happens, it eventually just goes back to, this is an anime trope video game. And Rex is the same way. He is just the isekai / shonen protagonist, but without any of the like, good development that a shonen protagonist has. You look at Luffy, you list all of the shit that Luffy does in One Piece and all the development that he has throughout One Piece. Even just in fucking Water 7 as an arc. Water 7 and Enies Lobby. You look at that, the growth in Luffy's character and what he does during that arc, you bullet point that, and you bullet point what Rex does over the course of an 80-hour JRPG, Rex blows him out of the fucking water every single time. And that's the same trope, quote unquote, that Rex is, like, supposed to be. He's supposed to just be a fucking shonen protagonist. But he's such a bad one that, like, it doesn't fucking matter. So like it's just crazy. And it's every time the game does something like decent, it just like shits the bed on it, you know? The whole thing with like the very end of like Pyra and Mithra like sacrificing themselves, quote unquote, is so fucking dumb. The amount of... Are you telling me Rex is Water 7 Luffy? No. That's not even remote. I'm saying like the exact opposite pretty much. Is that where you went? No, I'm saying if you compare Rex to Water 7 Luffy, it's like Rex is like, if you think about it, that's like probably what he's like supposed to be. Like he's supposed to be a shonen protagonist. But if you just hone in on Water 7 Luffy, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like Water 7 Luffy alone blows the entirety of Rex's character out of the water. But that's just like one arc of a shonen protagonist versus like the shonen protagonist like foil character that Rex is what I'm trying to say. It's like it's more meant to be like a hyperbolic statement of how bad Rex is as a shonen protagonist. No. Definitely not the other way. Yeah. No, Luffy is definitely like significantly better. Because that's what I was saying. It's like you look at everything that Luffy went through in Water 7 and Enies Lobby. You bullet point that, and you bullet point all the ways he changed as a character and all the things he accomplished. And then you look at that next to Rex, and Rex has like fucking nothing on that. Is what I meant to say. Maybe I said it wrong in thinking about it now. But that's what I meant to say. But yeah, it's like the whole ending thing of like Pyra and Mithra sacrificing themselves is like, if you were paying any amount of attention to the story, you know that that's just not what's happening. Like, you know they're going to be fine. And you know that, like, worst case, they just won't have memories of the past, like, month that the game takes place over. Which, like, what the fucking do in that case? Like, you know they're coming back, and you know they're going to be fine, and you know that everyone's going to be fine because it's a fucking JRPG, and it's an anime, no less. And yet so many people I've seen on Twitter say that it's like, that moment sold them on the game, that moment was peak, they cried at that moment, etc., etc. I just fucking shook my head. Like, that ending moment, it was the Nia thing, the climax of Nia's story being that she loves Rex, and then the sacrifice scene during the end of the game, that whole thing completely like lost me on the game at that point. I was like mildly enjoying Xenoblade 2 up until the Nia thing, and then I completely fucking like it started to reel me back because right after the Nia thing is the chapter 8 Under the Cloud Sea, all of that. It kind of started to reel me back, and then that whole ending cutscene just fucking ruined it again. The whole point is I go from suicidal to wanting to save the world. Yeah, but it's like kind of dumb because it's like it's just not presented well, you know. Because it's like they don't even like because that's the biggest thing about it is they don't even focus on them. That cutscene focuses on Rex and focuses on how bad it's hurting Rex. It doesn't focus on them and how like selfless they're being and everything. It's focusing on Rex and his reaction to it. So it's like I get that that's like what they were going for, but then why did you have it be focused on Rex the whole time? Why not have it be focused on Pyra and Mithra, or Numa rather in that case? You know, it's just like it's just so poorly done. The worst writing in the game is Mithra. Yeah, and that especially goes into the next one because no, we're not done yet. I talked for 23 minutes about Xenoblade 2. God damn it. This one will be shorter. Xenoblade 2, Torn of the Golden Country. We just recently finished this. The last stream that we did before this one was finishing this game. We're doing some calm music so I can calm down from that. Torna lands in the C tier as well. Torna beats out base game Xenoblade 2, but not by much. It starts out a lot better. Laura and Jin have a very good start to their story. They're pretty decent characters in the beginning, and Laura and Jin kind of just continue to be like decent characters throughout, I'm not gonna lie. Laura and Jin are probably like the best written characters in all of Xenoblade 2, including the base game, and that's fucking saying something because they're like not even that well written in Torna. But like they at least get like something, and it's like kind of I kind of fuck with it at least a little bit. I also forgot to mention one more thing about Xenoblade 2. The main cast does not fuck with each other. Like, they do not do anything to make me, like, convinced that they are friends and that they enjoy hanging out together. Nothing that happens in the game convinces me of that, and I don't understand why people love them so much. If I have to watch optional heart-to-hearts that are fucking impossible to find and have weird-ass requirements to, like, understand that the characters in the game, like, fuck with each other and, like, enjoy each other's company, you failed as a writer. I'm sorry. Xenoblade 1's cast and Xenoblade 3's cast and the entirety of Xenosaga's cast, they all fuck with each other, like, clearly throughout the game during main story content that you're not gonna miss. Like, why is 2's different? Why do I have to watch optional content for 2? Why do I have to watch Pyra pretend to be a maid or whatever to understand that the party fucks with each other? You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. But yeah, Laura as Mithra's driver would have actually been kind of crazy. But yeah, like, Adam. So, okay, Laura and Jin are pretty good characters. They're the best characters of Xenoblade 2 for sure, as they are in Torna. The ending of Torna is, like, fucking whatever, but I still don't really, like, fully get why Jin does what he does post Torna, but, like, whatever. But yeah, the beginning of the story, all the characters, like, meeting each other and everything, that was all well and good. Even the characters of Torna, like the main party of Torna, minus, like, Hugo, I guess, because he's kind of just there. Him and his blades are kind of just there. Like, Jin, Laura, Hayes, Adam, and Mithra, they clearly fuck with each other. Like, they hate each other at first, obviously, but then, like, as the DLC progresses, you start to see them, like, fuck with each other more and, like, kind of become more like friends, and it, like, feels mostly organic. It does kind of come out of nowhere in a way, because so much of the game is just, like, forced side questing that you're doing, and the side quests are, like, all scenes within themselves, but it's like which ones you do kind of dictate your view of the party in a way, because, like, some of the side quests have, like, good character development for the party itself, but again, they're side quests. They're supposed to be optional, but they're not. But it's still, like, you pick which ones you do. So if you happen to never pick the side quests that have, like, good character building, you're just never gonna see that, which is, like, again, stupid. You failed as a writer if that's what you're forcing me to do, but whatever. But, like, Laura and Jin, like, they're good characters. They get decent development throughout it. Adam is a pretty decent character in his own right. He's a lot like Rex, just full stop. And in the same way, he really doesn't develop at all, like Rex too. The Adam that you see at the end is the same Adam as you see in the beginning. But at least he's just, like, a better character at the base anyway, because he's at least, like, kind of entertaining. Like, he's the same, like, happy-go-lucky, like, wants to be friends with everyone, wants to talk his way out of shit kind of person as Rex is, but Adam's just, like, kind of funny. And, like, kind of a himbo, whereas Rex is, like, 15 and, like, literally still a child. So it's like, you know. Torna's ending feels like the Star Wars prequels where you know this can only end badly. They don't really do great writing to make it work, right? The heart-to-hearts in 2 are ass, because, like, every time it might be good, it's just, like, Tora going, hey, I made the robot child bark like a dog, right? Adam has depth too. Yeah, like, Adam has depth with, like, you know, rejecting his birthright. His fear over whether or not he can actually, like, manage Mithra is, like, a big part of his character that, like, Rex completely misses. Like, Rex never fears for the fact that he is wielding literal godlike power. He never fears for that. And even when, like, characters are constantly like, hey, be careful with, like, the power that you're wielding, you're not wielding her well, all of that shit, he never fucking learns. Like, there were so many good opportunities throughout Xenoblade 2's story for Rex to, like, learn something and, like, develop a little bit even, and it just never happens. Which is, like, such a fucking, like, missed opportunity in my opinion. And, like, Adam, like, has, like, he starts with that, so you can't really call it development, but it's like he's still, like, baseline a deeper character than Rex ever is. Rex not fearing Mithra's power is actually a trait of Rex. I get it, but it's like, it would have made more sense. It's like, he never acknowledges it in general. It's never, like, showing why Rex is the better driver. But that's why I hate it so much, is because nothing that Rex ever does is deserving of that. Like, if it had been like Rex sees how powerful Pyra and Mithra are and like has doubts and then like overcomes them because he's like, I know they're better people than that or whatever. I know that I'm capable of like handling their power. If it was shit like that, then it would have been fine. But it's like Rex just as a baseline is like, I don't fucking recognize the power that I'm wielding, or he just like doesn't care or whatever. He just sees titties and is like, I'm on board, sign me up. She's beautiful to me. So it's like he never develops. Yeah, he's more so like ignorant of the power. So it's like I know that like Rex not being afraid of her is part of what makes Mithra like him. And in the end, but it's like he never does anything to like deserve that, in my opinion. It's like he clearly like there's never an acknowledgement that he's not afraid of the power, and there's never an acknowledgement that he like even like he never acknowledges the power in the first place. So it's like it's just not well put together at all, I feel like. Is my thing. Rex is so fucking stupid he misses that point, which is like that's not a good thing for his character, in my opinion. Like, again, it really should have been that it's like Rex recognizes the power that he's wielding at some point, is afraid of it, and then over the course of like spending more time with Pyra and Mithra, learning more about them, learning how to be a better driver, overcomes that fear and is like, I'm the fucking guy, I can do this. But he never does any of that. It's just the baseline of, I don't understand the power I'm wielding. I'm not afraid of the power I'm wielding, because whether I don't understand it or I understand it now, but I've been using it so far, so I don't really fucking care, like whatever. Like he never, like, there's never any movement from there. So it's like, does it really say anything to him as a character that he's like doesn't fear the power that he wields? Is kind of where I'm at. But you know, it is what it is, I guess. Torna started off fine. I had high hopes for Torna at the beginning, and then once Mithra got introduced, like a little bit after Mithra got introduced, it kind of just turned into like Mithra's the punching bag of the group. And like continues to be the punching bag of the group for kind of no reason. I know she's like kind of an asshole, but like that's still not really like enough to justify all of the bullshit that she puts up with. And then the ending of the game like really fucking pissed me off. Like the more that I thought about it after the stream, the more I was like, I am actually pissed off about the ending of Torna, because you cannot fucking tell me, and I get it, it's the loss of innocent life is the point, but you cannot fucking tell me that fucking Melvin or whatever his name is, the cat boy, him dying is what caused Mithra to go off the rails so fucking hard that she created Pyra. That makes no fucking sense to me. We'll cast the rest later. Hey, have a good rest of your night, man. Appreciate you hanging out. We won't be on for too much longer. Maybe another like 20, 30 minutes, I think. Because we just have Xenoblade 3 left. Milton, right? But like, yeah, Milton's death being the trigger makes no fucking sense. Because like, A, how did she know? How did she know that he fucking died in the attack? She just like pictured him dying and then pictured Rex for some reason, which should really mean nothing to her because she doesn't know who the fuck that is yet. Like, I know she has future sight, but still. It's like those visions are what cause her to go apeshit. And then like in going apeshit, she obviously like destroys Torna or whatever. But then like it's not about like any other innocent life that gets lost. It's just specifically Milton that they keep focusing on with it, and that causes her to go insane. When like Milton the whole time was literally only ever an asshole to her. They had one nice interaction right before they left to go to the final fight, where Mithra was basically like, hey, don't fucking follow me and get yourself killed, like please. And then like that's I'm not convinced that Mithra would care. If you wanted it to be that like Mithra recognized how her own power like caused all of these issues, have her see other people dead too. Milton's the only motherfucker who died, besides Hugo even, which that's another thing I'm gonna get to. But like Milton's the only motherfucker that died due to her powers that she sees, but that's somehow enough to trigger creating Pyra. And then Hugo, the person that she's been fucking traveling with, like an actual party member who like provided fucking worth to the team, he fucking died too, at her hand, actually. Milton didn't even die at her hand. That was Malos who did that shit. But Hugo basically died at her hand, protecting Laura, or whoever he was protecting. I actually forgot at this point. But like, Hugo fucking died because of her. And seeing him first, nothing. Just fucking like, whatever. I sleep. But seeing Milton die, seeing him dead on the ground, is what causes the Pyro Awakening? That makes no fucking sense, dude. Like, I'm so genuinely upset with how Torna handled Mithra. Because, like, the entirety of Torna was, like, shitting on Mithra, but then building her up to be, like, an actually, like, good character. And then, again, I know the whole point of it is, like, it's the Star Wars prequels thing, where, like, you know this isn't going to end well. But it's like, she has a thing for twinks, I guess. I think we call that Shotokan. Or Shotokan. But, like, I get that, like, we know bad things have to happen. I'm not mad that the bad things happen, because, like, it made sense. We knew that she deleted Torna. It's like, we knew it had to happen. It's just, like, if you're gonna show her being foresight into her grooming victim, right? If you're gonna show her being upset over the power that she wields, show it better than having her see the party member that she literally killed and then having no reaction to that whatsoever, and then seeing the fucking cat boy that she didn't even kill. It wasn't even her power that did that, but I guess she thinks it is. Having her see that and then like fucking freaking out and turning into Pyra. It's like, you show her show her seeing the destruction of the Titan itself. Show her seeing like multiple people dead over what she did, not just this shitty cat boy who literally sexually harassed her at one point in the game. Like, I'm not convinced. I just don't get it, personally. Right, like, if the writing was even just a little bit better, it could have been honestly really good. I could have bumped it up to a B tier, probably. But it's just so not good. The gameplay of Torna is marginally better than base game 2, I will say. But it still is like based off of the bullshit that is Xenoblade 2's, you know, battle system. So I can't like it that much. But yeah, Torna barely beats out Xenoblade 2, but not by much. And now we get to the last two. Xenoblade 3, baby! So you're probably wondering, well, what's the SS Plus tier for? This tier is basically specifically reserved for Xenoblade 3. Because this game is fucking solid. I can finally start talking good things again. Now, why does this game not get Godslayer, Omega, whatever I called it tier? The main thing is that the game has a very rough start, I will say. The game starts off pretty well, introducing the 6 main characters, introducing how they like end up teaming up together, despite the fact that they were enemies in the beginning. It starts off very well. Chapter 1, very, very good. Chapters like 2 through 4, what the fuck even happened? I don't even remember. It's just like, it's a lot of like small character things that happen in chapter 2, which is good. We need that because we need to establish that these characters are like characters and they fuck with each other. Xenoblade 3 does a really good job of like ensuring you that the team likes each other and considers each other as like friends and family. The game does a very good job of doing that, just in the main story. But like a lot of the intermediate stuff between their introductions and like the big moment that everybody who's played 3 knows about, it's a lot of nothing. Like, Noah is just a very just cardboard protagonist, which I forgot to mention Malos as an antagonist, both in 2 and Torna. The most cardboard antagonist I've ever seen in a JRPG ever. I'm just putting that out there. He has no fucking character motives besides just I'm a bad guy. and I want to kill shit because that's what I'm here to do. And he's just boring as fuck. And I hate that Rex still like talk no jutsus him at the end because like it doesn't make sense for him to be like susceptible to that at all. But enough about 2. The team is just like Noah is a very boring protagonist up until like the end of chapter 4. The rest of the team is great though. The rest of the team is very good. They like banter well with each other. They work well together. You can like clearly tell they fuck with each other, and it's great. We were working together as a necessary evil to while we were actually friends now. Right, and it happens like pretty quickly is the thing too, which I also like. Because it's like they get over that hump of like we're working together out of necessity, like fairly quick once the situation really starts to settle in and once they like start to learn more about like the world that they exist in together. And that I think is really cool because as they continue to learn more about the world and about what's happening around them, they like their own relationship together continues to grow off of it almost, which I think is really, really cool. So like the way that they handle the characters and their relationships, I think is really good and a very necessary improvement over the second game. Again, Noah is just really boring until, you know, a certain point. Once you get past that certain point, it's like chapters 5 and 6, like end of 4 through 6 are like very, very good. Like on par with Xenoblade 1 shit, if you ask me. Like it goes fucking crazy. And then kind of like Light said, it just kind of goes back to being a little rough at the end. Which I think is just because of the fact that, like, talk about cardboard antagonists, Mobius as a whole, it's just not there, man. Like, I've never felt threatened by Mobius in the beginning. I think that, like, Mobius as a whole, and Zed especially, they get revealed way too early. And that's the same issue that, like, Malos has, too. Like, the reason why the antagonists of, like, Xenogears, Xenosaga, and Xenoblade 1 all work so well is that you don't know who they are until, like, way later in the process. You get some hints about them, for sure, but you don't get any, like, full-on confirmation of who they are, what they're doing, what their motive is. You don't get, like, anything about them until it becomes absolutely necessary for you to have it. And they like really introduce the antagonist with like a bang in those games, or at least in a way that leaves you like intrigued about them. With Mobius, it's like you see one of the like Mobius transformations like almost immediately in the first like 2 hours of the game. They look dumb, and yeah, they never really felt like real characters. They're just kind of just vaguely threatening, like, hoo, look at me, I'm evil and shit, I'm gonna kill you, and then they don't manage to kill you, and they're like, I'll get you for this later, ugh. And then, like, you see cutscenes of Zed, and he's just, like, kind of there and, like, saying some things, and it's just, like, he's introduced way too early, the rest of Mobius is introduced way too early, but then, like, their actual, like, characters behind them don't, like you're saying, Urban, they don't like get the development that they need until they're like about to fucking die. Which is also a big issue of Xenoblade 2, is Xenoblade 2 pulls the whole like tragic backstory right as your character is about to go through some shit. Which like, I know that's just, again, anime tropes, but it's just Xenoblade 2 does it really poorly. And like honestly 3 kind of does too when it comes to Mobius. It's like, I just like couldn't find myself to care about them at like any point of the game, except Triton, pretty much. Triton and like Chris were like kind of the only ones I like really found myself caring about, and obviously like N and M, who are like, you know, the main ones that you care about. But like all of them besides them, I just like didn't fucking care. Yorin or whatever, I didn't give a shit. I know he was like the most like ham-fisted one, but like I didn't give a shit about Yorin. Regardless of all the cutscenes that happened with him. I cared more about, like, I felt more bad for, like, the Kevis trio with the Yorin stiff than I did about Yorin himself. And then same with Miyabi as well, but she was never Morbius, I know, or Mobius, I know that. But Chris just showed to check on his buddy, right. But at least, like, Chris is just kind of cool. So I was more okay with Chris doing that. But, like, he's a real one. But, like, I don't know, the whole Mobius thing was not great. But, like, the antagonist side of everything was kind of ass. But all of the, like, protagonists and everything, were really good. I loved the role that Nia and Melia played and everything. I thought that was really neat, the way that they like ended up explaining it all and like kind of working it all into what's happening. And especially for the fact that, you know, spoilers, but whatever. N&M really carried the antagonist side for sure. Which, like, that's part of what I loved a lot about Xenoblade 3's story, and kind of why it's so close to Xenogears on here too, is that Xenoblade 3, like, Noah and Neo are kind of just a retelling of Faye and Ellie, who are the two main characters of Xenogears. The idea that gets introduced about them that I don't really want to spoil because it's actually like a really cool thing. The idea behind them is very much so. It's basically the exact same story as Ellie and Faye in Xenogears. It's just kind of told in like a more modern way and like in a better way, in my opinion. And it like fits better into the world that's created around it as well. It just kind of makes more sense. So I really liked it for that reason. Again, the whole cutscene around Chapter 5 and 6 involving Noah and Mio and N&M and that whole thing, like, I was crying in the club. I popped off. At one point, Noah shouts, "You're full of shit," towards N, and I actually, like, got out of my couch and, like, popped off when he did that. That shit was huge. It's just, again, it's a really rough start for the game, and honestly a very, like, whatever ending, if you ask me, that don't quite get it up into the highest tier. And the gameplay part of it, just, I thought it was fine. It just felt too safe almost. It's like they took elements from 1 and 2 and just kind of like meshed them together in ways that, like, in my opinion, improved upon what was introduced in 2, but then like made what was introduced in 1 kind of worse. And so it turned into just like a meh kind of thing. Like, fights still kind of took too long. The chain attack was even more ridiculous than it is in 2, and takes even longer than in 2. The safest elements of 1 to fit into the best parts of 2. That's a very good way of putting it, yeah. And like 6 party members at once is like, once you get used to it, is not hard to keep track of, but it's just like kind of annoying. I do like the class system. I just don't like how slow it is to make the class system like function in a fun way. You have to like master like 8+ classes for like the customization ability to like be at its best. Whereas like, again, in Xenoblade 1, you just get the customization options like as you get the characters, and like it's just kind of there from the start, and you just get better ways of implementing the customization rather than like having to unlock the customization options in the first place, I guess. Is kind of how the system felt in 3. But again, like the gameplay was fun. It was fun enough for me to be engaged for like 70 to 80 hours. So like, what can you really ask for at that point? What else can you really ask for? It's just like, it just doesn't quite stick the landing for me. Which is why I can't put it in the toppest tier like I would like to. But still a very solid game. If you've played Xenoblade 1 and liked it a lot, I can definitely recommend Xenoblade 3. Even without having played Xenoblade 2, I'd say you can still play 3 and like enjoy it and like get everything you would need to get out of it, in my opinion. So that's pretty much that on 3, which just leaves us then with Xenoblade 3 Future Redeemed. Holy shit, this DLC. It's not as good as Xenosaga 3, I will say. But this is everything that I wanted out of this DLC story. Yeah, 2 story is more important to Future Redeemed than like base 3. Same with Xenoblade 1 as well. But Future Redeemed, in in a just grand level summary, is a love letter to Xenoblade 1 and 2 in like the best way possible. You got Shulk, You got Rex. Like, what more do you really need, even? You got all of the, like, intermingling characters that are related to the two of them. You have Matthew, who's, like, he's a walking depiction of Faye in 3D, for one. And for two, he's kind of a fucking idiot in, like, a really endearing way. So, like, he's pretty fucking cool. He's kind of like a better version of Adam, in all honesty. He's, like, even stupider, but, like, even more fun. Yeah, like Rex, but an actual good character. So, like, Matthew's a very fun protagonist. I definitely would not put him, like, anywhere near the top of my, like, best protagonist of the series lists or anything. But he's really fucking fun to just, like, have around. Still can't hear people talking about Matthew. There's no shit to talk about with Matthew, honestly. He's just a fun character. And, like, when his big moments happen, like, they hit. And that's the other thing, is, like, Rex's character, because, again, Rex is in Future Redeemed, and Rex plays a very big part of in Future Redeemed. And despite everything I was saying about him in Xenoblade 2, he's a good fucking character in Xenoblade 3. Because he's not just himself. He's like, he still clearly has like the base elements of his character, but he's also like clearly experienced more of the world and has grown more and like acts like a fucking person now. So like Rex in Future Redeemed is great. I fucking love the dude. I'm right there with the crew of people spamming fucking double spinning edge off of like 100% crit chance. Like I'm right there with you. It's just, it throws me off so much to hear people use my name, especially when I know they aren't talking about me. That's so fair. Matthew needs more fans and I'm one of them. Very fair. But like, you know, Matthew, or not even Matthew, but like Rex got a lot of development just leading into Future Redeemed, and I think it was super necessary for him. And like just in the way that he interacts with Glimmer and Shulk especially is like, that's all I really needed to see of him to be like, yeah, this is a vast improvement over the Rex that we had in Xenoblade 2 for sure. But just like the way that Xenoblade 3 interlinks everything from the previous two games into the context established in the base game of Xenoblade 3 is perfect. Because the big thing that I thought was missing from Xenoblade 3's base game story was that we did not get enough about like what caused the world to be in the state that it's in, that you see it in during Xenoblade 3. And Future Redeemed answers exactly that while introducing older versions of Shulk and Rex. Shulk is literally still the same character, but again, he's my favorite protagonist ever, so I didn't care about that. Rex is just an improved version of himself, for sure. Improved in all aspects, both in terms of physical design and character personality and everything. He's just improved in general. The combat is like, it's the same combat as base game 3, but is like simplified to a degree that I think actually makes it even better. Same with like the there's not really customization with them. They remove the customization options that you have in the base game because it doesn't really fit with like the systems that Future Redeemed like holds on to. But it's still like the general changes they made to the battle system I think are better and I think are very welcome in my opinion. And it being just a shorter thing just makes it more enjoyable for me in general. Because it's just like Xenoblade Future Redeemed is just like non-stop. You're constantly getting characters that are like calling back to the other two games. You're constantly seeing locations and like hearing conversations and stuff that call back to the first two games. And it's just fun. The way that the characters interact with each other is just very, very fun. And it's the perfect way that they could have like wrapped up the whole trilogy in my opinion, because it perfectly closes off Rex and Shulk's storylines. It perfectly like calls into question like where the cores or whatever are like being implemented during the game, like during the base game of 3, and it just does everything it needs to do and does it very well with like a good amount of spectacle, I would say. Because the spectacle in Xenoblade 2 that always showed up was just corny, it felt like. And it was the same in Torna. But like the spectacle, like in base game 3, in my opinion, does still kind of get corny at times, but like for the most part is better. I thought I hit loop and I didn't, my bad. But like in Future Redeemed, I feel like the spectacle is like perfect because it's like not a very long experience, so the spectacle isn't like insanely over the top, but it still shows off everything that it needs to show off. And that's what I really liked about it. Makes me wonder what Xenoblade 4 will be like if we ever get a 4. I think we're definitely getting something new in the Xeno-Series. Whether it's a Xenoblade 4 or whether it's something different, I don't know. But, like, yeah, people are theorizing Mithra's Kids. Some people are theorizing a return to Xenosaga, since the very, very last cutscene, like the post-credits cutscene of Future Redeemed, shows what we're all assuming is Cosmos barreling towards the Earth. Not to mention the fact that fucking Future Redeemed just did a giant fuck you and said all the other previous games are still canon. That was hilarious. The radio, the lore dump radio in Future Redeemed is so fucking funny. But it's just great. The decision paralysis of base game 3 is gone in Future Redeemed. That is very true. Yeah, Mithra's Kid just never showed up, which is very strange, for sure. But yeah, Future Redeemed, it doesn't beat out Xenosaga 3 for me, purely off the fact that, like, while they are both, like, the conclusion to a very good trilogy, in my opinion, a mostly very good trilogy, in my opinion, it's, like, just something about the presentation of Xenosaga 3 and, like, the character, like, if Future Redeemed's cast was like in its like state of being for longer, and like if the story itself was longer, I'd probably like it more than Xenosaga 3. But like Xenosaga 3 is like you were seeing the same cast of characters progressing over the course of the trilogy, and like all of the conclusions that happen are like all related to that core group of characters. Whereas Future Redeemed is like you have two characters recurring from the previous games, and like the conclusions to their stories are kind of like level set in the new context that's provided from 3's base game, instead of being like a natural continuation of what they were doing from the end of their respective games. Whereas like Xenosaga 3 is like a natural conclusion, a natural continuation to everything that was going on prior to Xenosaga 3. Future Redeemed is like, the conclusion is more so with the world itself rather than with any of the specific characters, if that makes sense. Which, again, hits really fucking hard, but just not quite as hard as the character conclusions in Xenosaga, in my opinion. Matthew talking to his sister about escapism, but the radio having more relevance, right? We'll never get old. If they go down the Cosmos route, do you think they would do a Xenosaga remaster? I see a lot of people like asking for a Xenosaga remaster, and I honestly really hope they do. Because Xenosaga is like very, like, I would say it's worthy of a remaster at this point. The story is really good. It's just like difficult. Like Xenosaga is like it knowingly has issues in terms of like how the development went and everything. So I think putting the whole trilogy into like one big game, and then either as part of that game or as a separate follow-up game, adding like further continuation to the story, because Xenosaga 3 ends on a cliffhanger of sorts. So it's like they can continue that story if they really want to, and I really think they should. But I think like a Xenosaga remaster would need to happen first, in my opinion. Whether we're going to get that or Xenoblade 4, I honestly don't know. I'm down for both. But it is like confirmed with Future Redeemed. This is the end of like the Klaus trilogy, as they're calling it, for Xenoblade. So they've said that there's going to be more, but we just don't know what it's going to be yet. But I'm excited for whatever it is, because Monolith has been on a fucking heater, honestly. They're doing good shit, and I'm excited to see where they keep going with it. But yeah, that's basically about it for the Xenosaga tier list. I've been thinking about making this tier list for quite a while, and I'm glad I finally got to do it. How do I like download it? Download it. There we go. If we get a Xenosaga 4 for the next game, that would be really cool. Post it on Reddit? No, because that would require me to make a Reddit account, and I'm not doing that. Yeah, this will be posted in our Discord though. That's for sure. That's for true. Let me just cancel out of that real quick. My fucking throat hurts, man. Oh god, we're getting infinite me. Xeno-Series. Bang. That is now officially included in the Discord forever. Again, as Trev kind of requested, this will get posted as a VOD. Specifically, the tier list part will get posted as a VOD. Probably tomorrow, maybe. We'll see. But hope you guys enjoyed hearing the Yap session. Thank you guys very much for the bits, for the subscriptions, for the everything else. If you missed any part of it, or if you want to hear me yell again about how good Xenoblade 1 is, feel free to watch the VOD. Spread it around if you want to, if you want people attacking me for my opinions. And yeah, next stream, it might be Thursday, but probably not. Ken is going to be starting Metroid Prime on Thursday, so definitely go check that out. In fact, I'm probably not going to stream on Thursday for that reason alone. So next stream should be Sunday, and we're going to get back into Celeste speedrunning because I've taken a long break from that, and I need to get back onto that. Can I post a tier list on Reddit and see what happens? If you really want to, yeah. Go for it. As long as you don't get people fucking, like, death threatening me. That's all I care about. Yeah, I won't stop you. I won't see it on Reddit anyway. I don't go on there. But yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the Yap Fest. I'm gonna go to sleep. I'll be that I made it. They'll be at your door. Yeah, if you want to take the blow for that, then go for it, man. That is fine by me. But I will see you guys on probably Sunday for the return of Celeste speedrunning. Getting doxxed over a tier list. It would happen probably, man. Especially if the video gets shared with it and they hear me just dog on Xenoblade 2 for 20 minutes, they'd probably be at my door. But it is what it is, I guess. This VOD will be up tomorrow probably. Well, I mean, it's going to be up on Twitch itself immediately after I cut stream, but I'm going to put it up on YouTube probably tomorrow, hopefully. So, yeah, be on the lookout for that. Enjoy the rest of your night and the rest of your weeks, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.